I just didn't want to take accountability for my actions.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the moment I went in there like a man and just was like, I'm ready to, you know, put this behind me, I just had clarity at that moment. So when I went to prison, Malcolm X said, prison to the unconscious mind is the devil's playground. Prison to the conscious mind is the university. So when I went in there, I researched myself. Yeah. I was just thinking about my family. You know what I mean? And, you know, you sit back and you think about, oh, well, you know, nobody loved me, this, that, and the third, but you don't know you don't get to decide how much somebody loves you. Sometimes love is loving somebody from a distance. Sometimes you got to get that person you love that distance to be able to get themselves together so they're not messing up what you got going. You know what I mean? Because it's like a tornado. So, you know, you have to be mindful of that too. So I was just thinking about my family, and I was just thinking about my future. The first like 3 months, you know, the first month or so you're figuring out what camp you're going to. I went to Lake Butler. When you walk in there, bro, they yelling. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the army. Yeah. They in your face, they making sure, you know, you ain't got nothing in your mouth. I mean, it's my name is Bilal. Bilal in Fitness. I'm also a part of Rip Calisthenics.
But you recently got released from prison, right? How long have you
I've been out for 2 years.
For 2 years. Where your mindset was, what was going on in that period of time leading up to that? And then what happened once you finally did get locked up, and where the shit happened and everything like that? If you could explain that.
Well, most of my learning was autodidactic. So, you know, my mom, she had a lot of kids really young. My mom had 4 kids at 24. And by the time she realized, you know, she had a lot of kids because, you know, she seen her friends going off to college, going off to, you know, go travel, do this, that, and the third. My mom kind of had a mental breakdown, so she shipped us to go stay, you know, with my grandma. And my grandma, you know, she was like the backbone of the family. So, you know, my grandma had so much going on, not only with my mom and her 4 kids, but my aunties, stuff like that. So it was real hard for them to just sit back and give me game like they would have liked to. And you know, I turned to the streets. You know what I mean? You know, I was doing a lot of things that weren't really me. You know, because if you break everything down in a realistic perspective, you got people that come from where I'm from and they go to college and they got a family. You know what I mean? Because they know who they are, and I was never really on that. You know what I'm saying? I was a fighter because I'm a man before anything, and you know I was always a cool dude, but I felt like I was trying to push an image that wasn't authentic. Right. You know what I mean? So when you sit back and you realize who you are and what you're here for and what your purpose is, that gives you clarity, and then you know how to move. So you know, I had a pretty bad substance abuse problem, man. And that was coming from me thinking it was me versus the world, but it was me versus me the whole time. I was intimidated by my own potential. So what I was doing was, in a sense, just doing stuff to do it until, you know, shit happened. Right. You know what I mean? And then when it happened, I'm like, oh, you know, I can't, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And I could sit here and say, oh, it wasn't nobody to show me anything. There's a ton of people that tried to lead me in the right direction or try to give me game or pull me to the side and be like, yo, you tripping. But, you know, they say a hard head make a soft ass. So I kept going in and out of county. I was a county baby, man. Every time I see somebody, you know, they see me, you know, strong and shit. Damn, you just got out. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, when I was wilding, you know, when you run in the streets, it's concrete. It's hard, bro. So, you know, you lose weight. You know, you're not eating like how you would normally eat. You're not thinking like how you would normally think. All it is, you know, you shotgun with the speed racer. Yeah, so, you know, I ended up doing enough damage on the street to where, you know, I went to court and the judge was like, you going to prison. You know what I mean? And when they first said it, I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, you know, like I'm like in my, I'm not trying to accept responsibility for my own action.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here like sitting back, like, man, you just gave this dude this time, this, that. Why can't I get this? But it doesn't go by that. It goes by a score sheet, and it goes by, you know, my score sheet was 72 months. You know what I mean? So you if you sit back and you think about how many times I violated, the points kept going up, and I remember having a lawyer and she was just like, yo, wow, those points are adding up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's all good. Get reinstated again, violate, you know what I mean? And it's just a revolving door of chaos. And you know, when the judge finally was like, yo, man, like, you know, it's time for prison. At that time, I already had been doing so much just negative shit in the world where I was just content with just laying down. I was just tired, man. Yeah. In that same breath, I have to hold myself accountable for my own actions. You know what I mean? Because I'm the type of person who can't nobody talk me out of anything, only me. I can only talk myself out of doing the wrong thing or talk myself into doing the right thing. So, you know, that's really what it was. It wasn't that major, but it wasn't even the charges. It was the violations, constant violations. One of the charges, it was burglary of an occupier. That was a pretty bad one, because that's like almost home invasion. You know what I mean? But that had a lot of points to it, but I had more than enough opportunities to be able to get my life and turn it around.
Right.
When I got out, the first 23 days of me being out, I got out March 1st. The first 23 days of being out of prison, I was back on the same shit. Now, while I was in there, I was prepping myself for the good. You know, everything that I said I was going to do, I was going to accomplish. I was in school while I was in there. It was a lot of just, prison was just, if you paying attention, it's all game. You know what I mean? You'll run into some of the most intelligent people in there. Things happen. You know what I mean? So the overall experience is what prepped me for where I'm at right now and where I'm going to be in the future. You know, I'm taking life a lot more seriously now. Mind you, I'm gonna speak for myself. Sometimes I get lazy and I get complacent. It's very dangerous. You know what I mean? Because when you get complacent, you're being consistent and not persistent. You know what I mean? And you sit back here and you might forget one of the biggest things. And it might seem small to you at the moment, but overall it starts to catch up to you. One of the biggest things you just start to forget. You might stop doing. For me, it was, you know, I stopped praying. You know, because you could be physically strong, physically fit, but spiritually weak. And I feel like praying for me was like one of the biggest things for me, not only while I was in prison, but, you know, when I got out as well. It was like, it's like everything. And if you're not spiritually prepared, because you got certain people, they might do stuff and they don't even know they're doing it because they're being guided by something else. Whether it's influence, whether it's, you know, whatever people like to believe, you know, dark force or whatever. They're being, you can't reason with a person that doesn't have any logic or any respect or any understanding. And a lot of times, you know, even in the Bible it says we don't battle against flesh and blood, we battle against principalities in dark places. You know what I mean? So you get people that's in dark places, and you have to be prepared spiritually for that. You know what I mean? Whether a person is Buddhist, whether a person believes in God, Allah, you know, it's all spiritual, man. And we just got to be mindful of how we carry ourselves and how we preparing ourselves for that. You know what I mean? I train not only for the mental, but it's also a form of meditation and it's spiritual for me as well. So for the first 23 days when I got out of prison, I was back at it, just doing dumb shit.
What do you think made you kind of revert back to
that? Okay, so this was, I think it was the 20th of March. My little sister's birthday, the 23rd. And I was staying with them and my brother-in-law. And, you know, I was at the house and I had a really bad hangover, bro. I'm talking about this was wicked. I'm throwing up. I mean, and I gotta go to work too, because I just started working with my cousin. And I looked in the mirror and I said, Bilal, you about to go back to prison. And I had a flashback, just like going through all of that again. And I said, nope. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I haven't done anything in 2 years. Don't plan on it. And ever since I did that, I mean, I've had so much clarity. And my life has just been illuminated with light. But I still fall short of glory. You know, I still make mistakes, ain't nothing perfect. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that keep me from, you know, drinking or doing anything else is because I'm still making mistakes sober. I still have thinking errors.
Right.
So I can't mess with... You
know, distort it.
Yeah, you know, like why? You can't, because think about it. When you already are making mistakes, just being human for one, but you're still nurturing you're still trying to come out of who you used to be, and you're still dealing with just little. It might be something that you might think is small, as just lusting over a woman, or, you know, saying, oh, man, I see that Brinks truck, like, I can snatch that bag and just run off. Certain things like that, it might just be, even thoughts are bad for me, you know, because I feel like what you think about is what you're going to entertain, you know, so I'm still making little here and there's, so why would I go ahead and compromise what I got right now, you know, just by doing that? No, it's not worth it. For me, at least. Okay, so on and off, I was training. When I was going through what I was going through, training's always been there. I just never highlighted my attributes.
Okay.
In prison, my whole big training. You get some of these dudes are strong, bro. Some of them had some of the best workouts. One of them, he just got out of prison off of doing 30 years, man. Shout out to Big Ian. This dude named SK, I used to train with him, and this superhuman, his name's Bo. We call him Bo. And I mean, these dudes were like some of the illest when it came to training, and I'm working out with them. When did I start getting serious about it? I say in prison. When I came home for that 20-day period, before I gave everything up, I wasn't training. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't training. I think I prayed for the first 2 days, and then I was just back at it, back doing this, that, and the third. When did I start taking it seriously? Because after that, I went back into training. You know, I got into a relationship with somebody, and you know, she was so supportive. You know, so she got, you know, we made it. I didn't have the time, and at the time, I didn't have a car because I just got out of prison.
Right.
So, she got me a bench press, We built a pull-up bar in the back, like an actual pull-up bar. And yeah, I mean, I just started training. I was just training like every day and training hard, coming up with different workouts and stuff like that. And then I got with this dude, they call him Mr. Good Morning, Maury. And I mean, he was already lit when it came to the, just highlighting your attributes, the morning positivity walks and stuff like that. Mr. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Like, he was like, yo, man, like, you need to start posting, like, workouts. And I'm just like, nah, man, I ain't trying to do all that shit, man. Like, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. He was like, yo, like, it's the wave right now, bro. And he got so serious. He was like, yo, like, what's the point of having abilities and having all these, he real deep. And he said, you're not capturing them. You're not doing nothing with it. So me and him, we kept working out. And then one day I said, man, fuck it. And I just started posting. And after that, it was a wrap.
But you already accomplished it. Why is you still training? Like, why are you still working out?
You're always trying to level up in life. Because you might look at yourself and say, hey, I would like to get stronger. Right? And then somebody else look at you and say, man, you already strong. But it's always, you have to always keep in mind that the most important thing is to never get complacent. Because it's always something you can be doing. It's always something. It's always a certain. Maybe you might do regular push-ups, but you've never done diamonds, and you modify it. Okay, now I'm finna do diamonds because I want the inside of the chest to stick out more. It's always. I feel like we're always in a competition with ourselves. The people that truly train for the right reasons, you're always in a competition with yourself. So I can't stop training. To continue to be successful, you have to continue to do the things that made you successful. That's like getting up, going to work every day. You want the bills paid, you got to get up and go to work every day. Well, man, go to work all the time, man. Why not stop going to work?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's something I love too.
What kind of advice do you have for that person or those people that are struggling to just turn that switch on?
Start off with the basics. Certain people, they might need a trainer. I feel that doing push-ups, squats, like real calisthenics, like those right there, you can never go wrong with it. And don't just say, oh, I'm about to go 5 days. It's hard for me to get 5 days in the training. You know what I mean? If I'm lucky if I get 4, So what I do is I'll make my workouts count. So I know I might have missed 2 days, so I'm gonna work out for 2 days. I might be training for like an hour and a half. Just hit every body part. I suggest people start with 3 days. Start with 3 days first. Because if you say you're gonna do 5 days, and you miss a day, and then you miss another day, and now you're like, oh man, I'm gonna start over next week because I already missed 2 days out of it. No, baby steps, and stop comparing yourself to this man. Compare yourself to yourself, who you want to be tomorrow. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna put this on record. I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? I ain't just none of these dudes out here that just say, oh, I can do workouts, this, that, and the third. Like I do this. Taking over consistent calisthenics. Don't y'all ever forget that name.